Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Robert Stickle. I'm also joined by OnePlan's Jose Levy and Jen Simon, who is a manufacturing project specialist at Microsoft. Jose and Jen will be today's presenters and will be teaching you how to streamline your manufacturing projects with strategic portfolio management. This webinar is a new addition to our series of strategic portfolio management videos, so if you enjoy this webinar, feel free to watch the others we have available on our channel and look towards the next installment, which we'll be releasing soon. And as always, I hope that today's presentation grants you some insight into the world of project and portfolio management and gets you excited for the new developments happening within the industry and here at OnePlan. Thank you again. I'll now turn the presentation over to Jose.
Thank you, Robert, and thanks everyone for joining. Today's a focused webinar on manufacturing projects and how they relate to strategic portfolio management. And we have a special guest, our esteemed colleague Jen Simon from Microsoft, the manufacturing project specialist, who will be with us as part of the presentation. Hi, Jen. How you doing?
Hello, everyone. Nice to not see you virtually, but nice to be here. Thank you.
Okay, let's get started. So for those of you that don't know, we are OnePlan. We are Microsoft's lead partner in project portfolio management. We have been the winner, or if not a finalist, as a partner of the year. We are serving currently organizations all over the world in improving their portfolio management capabilities and have a number of competencies and experience in this specific domain. So today's topic, we've talked a lot about strategic portfolio management. If you look at our webinar series, a number of them have to do with this specific domain. And I wanted to start just by being very clear about what this means, because it's something that can be complex and not easily understood. And in the end, it's really the next evolution of project portfolio management. And it's a set of capabilities, processes, and technologies. So, that in itself tells you that it's much more than just the technology. It's actually about a way of work, a specific need within an organization. That's the definition of a capability. And really the thrust is that it's much more focused on delivering strategy. And really, we're not really tracking execution, we're really tracking outcomes. So what that means is that we have to connect a number of different concepts that we manage within an enterprise. So traditionally, we have been focused more on execution. That's really the lower part of this slide, where we talk about deliverables and methods. And really, SPM is about connecting an enterprise portfolio management capability, connecting it to strategic execution management, which is really, what is it that we're going to try to achieve? And then finally, how do we use our IT platforms, our business architecture, enterprise architecture, to also help deliver those results, those outcomes? So we're going to try to, illustrate, how this actually takes place within an organization. But I just wanted to make sure that we were anchored in terms of what SPM means. Now, one more additional clarification is that, this can be executed in many different ways within an organization, and there's multiple scenarios, so there is no one size fits all. In fact, within the hype cycle itself of Gartner, you can see this is the hype cycle for strategic portfolio management from July 22, so it's the latest one. You can see that there's different scenarios for strategic portfolio management. So there's those three pillars that I talked about, but even within them, you can go more granular in terms of what your application of SPM will be within your organization. So within it, I have highlighted the three main pillars: strategic realization office, which is another way of implementing strategic execution management; the EPMO, which is an enterprise project management office, which you can see that it's they've been around for some time. Application portfolio management, which is part of IT investment analysis, portfolio analysis, which is one approach for doing, one of the use cases for enterprise architecture, application portfolio management. And then I know I've highlighted PPM for new product development because it's very, very important within manufacturing. So even within, the context of manufacturing, you could be just focusing on new product development for manufacturing. SPM itself is listed here. So there's really many ways of going about implementing it, but what we're focusing, again, is more on business outcomes and less on execution. So with that, I want to start by talking about connected work, because that's where it all starts. And here I'm going to turn it over to Jen so she can give us perspective on how Microsoft enables that for us.
Sure. Thank you, Jose. So now, nice to virtually meet everybody again. I am Jen Simon. I'm the project specialist for all of our enterprise manufacturing customers. So if you have an enterprise agreement with Microsoft and you're a manufacturing customer, I am probably your contact. And through this slide, it really shows a nice way of how the all-up story for Microsoft is really going. And you can see that project is a part of that. Every single one of our manufacturing customers are trying to solve the same problem. They have to get to their data. They have to know where their resources are at, how are they being utilized, and are they being overutilized? And what we've done here is Microsoft has put together all of our experience. Our whole collaboration platform will help you do this. When we start at the bottom with the frontline workers, these are the people on the factory floor. And I will say project doesn't go onto the factory floor too often, but we do have it there in Power Apps. But it really starts our all-up collaboration story, because a frontline worker will work with teams and tasks, some lists, maybe some personal to-dos. And then, like I said, every once in a while, they'll need to update some things or maybe do some stuff with Power Apps on the factory floor. When we move up one level for the information workers, this is your input layer. This is your people who are doing the work. They will be in teams. They can use tasks in teams. They could input their tasks by planner, which very soon will connect directly to project. And then they also could organize their personal to-dos, their lists. They can also view reporting in Power BI. Now, the important thing to note about this information layer is these folks, if they are on an enterprise E3 or E5 agreement, they have rights to use Planner and view Power BI, so they do not need a project license. When we move up one more layer, now you're really starting to do the planning. And with the planning, that's where we partner with folks like OnePlan and our really strong gold partners. And as a matter of fact, OnePlan created a Project Accelerator in Power Apps that is a way to get into using Project for the web and the Power Apps and really starting to organize your data. And with that, it also flows into Power BI, so you get all of the beautiful Power BI reports. Now for your executives, you can set up a team that has role-based security, so other people can't get in there, but your executives can see the roadmap, they can see Power BI, and they can see where everything is going for your company. And with these solutions, we are working with many different manufacturing companies where we're starting to track things all the way down to the part number on top of the resources. So you really have a handle on your business and what's coming going forward. So now you can see this moves right on into the collaboration story. The whole idea is to make this easy, so that your people who need to update the tasks, we need to make it as easy as possible so they'll do it. And your folks who need to get to the data, we also need to make that easy for them to go view the data. And then we also need visibility and governance, because you really have to take control of this. Many people who get on Microsoft technology, you can understand that these things can spread like wildfire. So you definitely want to have some control and governance over it. But then the bottom line is you have all the data you need to plan your projects for this fiscal year, next fiscal year, and beyond. And then this is a great example of what this accelerator looks like, and Jose will go over this. But really, it's all about people, process, and technology. You need to figure out what your people are doing. You need to have a good process, and then you need the technology to plan it. And really, that's what this accelerator is going to do for you. You can make strategic decisions and high-level decisions, and then you can also get the basic information. And it's an easy to use with a really nice UI. So I'm super excited for you to see what Jose will show you today in this webinar, and thank you so much for being here. And when One Plan sends out the information, I'll have them send my contact information, so if anybody needs to follow up, you can get a hold of me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. That's awesome. All right, let's put this into actual practical example. So I have here our sample organization, Hoku Logic, and we're going to go through and explain how you can get to strategic portfolio management at different levels using this technology platform together with One Plan. So I'm going to start at the lower level where we have, operational process engineering work, and we have a need by that group, that process engineering group, to actually have a project inventory. They're working together. They're collaborating on projects. They need to have a project for the web, and they're going to be using the accelerator. So this is kind of the initial, if you will, beginning part. And we like to use a crawl, walk, run example just to highlight how you can evolve through your scenarios. So in this case, we're going to just start with the accelerator, where we have the ability to do project requests. We have programs, we have projects and tasks within Project for the Web. Then we have a list for risk, issues, changes. You can see everything that's at status reports, KPIs, governance, reports, and dashboards. This is pre-configured. If you go right now into GitHub or AppSource, you will actually be able to see the solution. So it's available, Microsoft made it available. One Plan participated in building it for Microsoft. So this is the starting point. And the interesting thing about the accelerator is that you can make changes to it. So it's a solution that's completely open and available for you to make changes and reflect your process. So this initial group just wants to use the accelerator in order to get started with project and portfolio management. So this, we're at the business unit level now, and the business unit level has a lot more requirements. What they need to do is actually track work across their entire organization. So it's definitely much more of an enterprise approach, again, for their business unit. Their requirement set is also more advanced. In other words, they have to do financial management, they have to do resource and capacity planning, they actually have to do modeling and scenarios and portfolio management. So it extends beyond what the accelerator provides. And in that case, what they're going to be doing is implementing One Plan with the accelerator. So One Plan actually is built to actually sit on top of the accelerator if that is what you require as an organization. In other words, if your requirements exceed what the out-of-the-box accelerator provides, One Plan can meet all of those additional requirements in order to get you from that initial stage to the next stage in strategic portfolio management. So when we get to the last level, and I'll show these, I'm going to be showing these in a second in a demo. When you get to the last level, now we're really talking about the highest level, an enterprise level, and it's really a strategic project office. And this brings to bear those scenarios that I referenced earlier for strategic portfolio management. So it's really about bringing together all of the different elements that are going to allow us to see whether we're going to achieve business outcomes. And at that point, really, this is just an illustrative example of what we have to get to. So it's fairly sophisticated and comprehensive, because we start with a business objective that has some key results that is driven by initiatives. And the initiatives themselves have outcomes that are adding, and leading to meeting the key result. At the same time, the initiatives are supported by enterprise architecture and investment in business capabilities, investment in applications, and those are the ones that are driving the change in order to get to the key result that we're looking for. So it's really about bringing all the different connections that are going to allow us to reach this business outcome. So in order to do that, the organization is going to use one plan. Now, the interesting part is that from the lower level of the EPMO, you are able to connect, and you can see it slightly here. I'll show it when I go to the demonstration, but you're actually connecting to project. You're actually connecting to Azure DevOps. You're actually connecting to teams, because that's where the execution is taking place. We're rolling that information up into one plan in order to have that portfolio view in order to make decisions on the investments. You can see here that I've also highlighted that we have the strategic execution management, because now we have the OKRs that are actually what we're trying to achieve. And then at the higher level, you have your capability-based planning, because you've added the enterprise architecture elements. And this kind of, is similar to the progression that we see with customers. They start with an EPMO, they tie to what is strategic execution management, the SEM component that I talked about, and then finally at the higher level, which is a bit more complex, they are adding the enterprise architecture elements in in IT investment portfolio analysis. So we've kind of gone through all three scenarios using one plan together with Microsoft technology. So let's go now to answer the question, how do we bring this together? Before I go to them, I want to answer this question, because this is a critical component. Every one of our more successful implementations really has included, at scale, has included a business strategy workshop. And that's really an exercise by which we bring stakeholders to the table. If you're really thinking about doing SPM or EPMO and EPMO, what we do is we literally map out how this is going to take place. And how are the releases of the solution? What is the change management approach that you're going to be undertaking? And in that way, we walk into an implementation knowing fully, how this is going to take place. So it's important to take that, because we're again trying to build this capability with a lot of different components. And what we're trying to do is, what is the from a time to value, from a cost effectiveness standpoint, what's the best approach for getting it done? Before I go to the feature flash, what I want to show is that we offer one plan in all of these different variations fused within the Microsoft clouds. So depending on what your scenario is, and what your preference is, and how you have how you're deploying your underlying technology, one plan can accommodate that. The most common one that we see is one plan within Teams. Teams being the central place for communication and collaboration, tied to Office 365 and all of the other collaboration tools that Microsoft offers. One plan also becomes an app within Teams, and also a tab within projects in either channels or individual teams for projects. The scenarios that I spoke about with the accelerator, would have one plan within Power Apps, and that's really the ability to have one plan fused within the Project Accelerator, or a model-based app that has the project for the web embedded within it. We also provide, and we have customers that are using one plan with Dynamics 365 in its different products, and also within Azure DevOps, because our integration platform is very prominent used with Azure DevOps in order to drive enterprise agile. So I wanted to make that point, just to highlight how we integrate with the technology. So, all right, let's jump to the 3 different scenarios so you can see how this works in 1 second here while I change my screen. Okay, so I'd like to start with the very first level that I showed, which is the operational one. So we have a project engineering team, and what they've done is they've created, created the accelerator, the project accelerator. And you can see here that the project accelerator, in its navigation, this is completely and totally out of the box. So, the main stage is where we manage projects, but you can start with requests. And, the benefits of using the Power Platform come through here because we can have workflow that, after going through an approval, can actually create a project. So again, using the Power Platform means that you have at your disposal Power Automate, which is the workflow engine. So in this case, we have a workflow tied. When it's approved, then we actually create the project. You can see that, owners are listed, different roles. The business case itself, if you want to, and again, this is a very simple example. It is a starter out of the box configuration. So if you want to extend this to include more information, you can. But all of this, like I said, is tailorable to your specific process. So from the request, which by the way can have different views, through the accelerator, you'll see that we have the view areas, and you can create new ones. These are the ones that come out of the box. And we have the ability to also do groupings if you want to do, okay, by which type of project, and all the different user experience capabilities that Power Apps has for you to define how you want to view the information. So from the request, we're going to go to projects, which is our prominent area. Again, I'm not going to go through a full feature demonstration. I'm just going to do the highlights because I do have the 2 other scenarios that I want to cover. But here we have my active projects, and you can open it up and see that, again, if you have permissions, you're going to be able to see all projects, and then you have different views depending on, how you want to actually see the information. If you want to see it based on prioritization scores. I'm going to go back to my projects. I have some health indicator stoplights here that I can configure. All of these columns, again, can be changed depending on the view that the information that you want to see. If I go directly into an item, you will see here that, I have a number of different tabs that reflect the information that, again, has been configured for projects. This can change, as I said earlier. It's all open for you to make changes to, but it's all about defining the project attributes after having it been approved, and seeing its state and where we are with the project. Now, in this particular case, we have actually built a toggle, because even for the basic accelerator, you can actually include one plan. So if the organization wanted to have one plan with the basic accelerator, you can. And I'm going to show an example here just to highlight that scenario. What happens is that one plan begins to add additional capabilities for resource management, for portfolio management, for cost management. So, and again, the highlight is that with the accelerator, you are going to receive, you're going to be able to see project for the web directly within the accelerator. So a user can manage their project directly in the accelerator. And this is project for the web for those that haven't seen it, but it is a lightweight scheduling capability that is available within Office and also within the accelerator. It's basically the project Power App that we call. And here, I'm not going to go through the project for the web, but essentially, it is where you're actually going to schedule your work. And more importantly, where assignments are made, because again, project for the web allows you to make assignments to anyone in the organization, which is a great value, because now you're, again, connected work, connected to everyone that's within Microsoft 365. In terms of, if you want to do nested programs, you can. I have some customers that actually change this to portfolios, so it's very easy to do. The out-of-the-box configuration has a program, but again, very easy to make it into portfolio. But here the idea is that you're managing a program. The program itself has metadata, and you're rolling up the program based on all of the different projects that it has. So in this case, we have a number of projects that make up the program, and you can track, again, in this case, program financials and benefits versus the project financials and benefits. You can add, the Accelerator has a status capability, by the way, at the program and even project level. I didn't show that, but that's one of the tabs that was there. And if you wanted to actually record a status report, you could. From the projects, again, we can add an existing project or create a new project, but these are the projects that are within the project list. It's just that they're part of the program. The Accelerator gives you, all the resources that are participating, all the project members that are participating within the project. If you want to add more resource planning capability, that's where you would bring one plan, and I'll show that in a second. And then finally, a very important part of the Accelerator is the out-of-the-box report pack, and that's really what everyone comes for, the visualizations. So if you're managing the information within the Accelerator, then it is available for reporting within the Power BI report pack, which is embedded here, and we can also see it separately within Power BI, the service. But you can see that in this case, we have all of the different levels that we're managing, from the portfolio to the projects to the resources. So the resource dashboard, summarizes all the work that's been assigned within the projects. So there is value here in seeing all of the different assignments that all of the team members have, all the projects that they're in. You can get to a task level overview, and we could be, looking at by project manager. So there's additional filters that you can add here. For individual team members, if they needed to see their work specifically, we have split this at times for customers, for them to provide this only to their team members, so they can see the projects and the work that team members have to report on. So that's the Accelerator out of the box. And like I said, for the Accelerator, you can add one plan to it in order to provide additional, really, resource management, portfolio management capabilities are the two primary scenarios that the one plan supports with the out-of-the-box Accelerator. So here's resource management, where you can see where all the assignments have been made by projects, and then if we're going to be doing full portfolio management, where you need to actually do prioritization and even integration to other platforms, that's again the value that one plan provides to the Accelerator. Okay, so that's the, again, lowest level of the organization where a group within project engineering wanted to get started. So the next one is now we're at the business unit functional level, and if you recall, they had a lot more requirements. So in order to do that, I'm going to change to the Power App that has the Accelerator, but it has actually been completely configured for that business unit. So this is a fully built out end state. It might not be strategic portfolio management, but it's pretty close, because we have here, it's probably the second level in the SPM journey, because we have corporate strategy reflected here. We have demand management. We have resource management, as I showed before. We have our portfolio management and even modeler, which is the what if scenario capability for one plan. So this is an example, again, of that business unit that decided to go down the path of the Accelerator, but entirely added one plan to it in order to have more of the EPMO capabilities added to the Project Power App. So it's as I said earlier, it's a fused experience because we now have we have the projects, but when we get into a project, this is completely, again, OnePlan is integrated completely into it. So in this case, for instance, for financial management, we are bringing in cost management, which is again a advanced capability. Resource management, you saw at a summary level what they are, but at a project level, the projects actually have their individual resource plans that aggregate to the overall enterprise resource plan. You can see that this has a lot more components because we're actually now adding OnePlan to it in order to manage those additional capabilities. Now, you could still be using Microsoft Project, Plan 3 or Plan 1, Plan 3 being the desktop, or Plan 1 being Project for the web, and you would be integrating that directly into OnePlan. So you do not lose that capability. And in fact, if we go here to Analyzer, we'll be able to see the source plans and where they come from. So you can see that we have some that are using Project Desktop, some are using Project Professional, some are using even Planner if you wanted to, Project for the web. So OnePlan gives you the ability to bring all of that within the application itself. So, and again, you're adding capability in order to get to that next level in strategic portfolio management. We can see here, in terms of reporting, you're still leveraging Power BI. So again, the reporting, in this case, it's OnePlan's out of the box report pack for our SPM, and again covers all of the elements that are being managed within the system. You can also, by the way, bring external information if you wanted to. That's just a capability within OnePlan and Power BI, so it doesn't have to all reside. But here, from objectives, where we've started, to the objective portfolio, to the objective progress, business unit status, key results portfolio, which is really the where everything, what we're really driving towards, managing the outcomes. To our portfolio summary, where we can, drill down into a specific portfolio and get to the portfolio details. So these are the programs now. We always have 4 dimensions: overview, status. So these are the projects that make up the actual program and portfolio, financials, and execution. And all of this is being tracked within OnePlan. So in here, we can drill further down into the program. And these are the projects that make up the specific program if you're managing programs. Again, if your planning hierarchy is different, it can be obviously changed to reflect what you're doing. But you can see that we get down to the plan level if we wanted to, and then at the plan level, now we're looking at the project level data, trending, financials, and also execution. If we get to resource plans, again, because we give you the ability to do resource plans top down and bottom up, you can actually compare, capacity versus demand and availability at both of those levels, and also look at assignments, which are the actual project assignments that have been made, or work that came in through Azure DevOps or any other planning tool. So, and you can see here that we have filters for looking at it by department, by role, or by specific resource. Daniel Williams being our demo role. OnePlan, another benefited you. I don't know if you notice here, we have my workplace, which is really where you actually get to report my work or a timesheet. So this is another added value that one plan can provide organizations that are, again, looking for that additional level where you can report on all the work that's been created through project, Azure DevOps, any planning tool that you've integrated into one plan. And then this is what a team member would see in terms of their the work that they're completing. And if you're just you can just report time directly here by either marking it complete or whatever percent complete you have. You do have a link to the actual plan or project that this is part of. And here there's collaboration features. You can leave notes, comments. We actually have a concept of activities, which means that there's maybe additional items that are part of the task, but I'm not actually literally activities that are part of the task. So a team member can actually go through and define those, and a project manager can actually also see them. There is an approval process, and you can see some here have been rejected, some are pending, and if I wanted to mark something complete, I can simply mark something complete to get it to 100%, and that will go to the owner of the task. Likewise, if you need to add a timesheet to the accelerator, this is where one plan also can add value, because it is a actual hours by day managed time period concept, number of features for copying the timesheet or adding additional tasks from things that you might have access to, whether they need to be chargeable, non-chargeable, or made capital or expense. You can do that here. Excuse me. And it's a matter of just recording time and submitting that to the approver, to an approver. So that's how the timesheet works. And you're managing, as I said, time periods that are open and managed by administrator. So that's for the team member, the reporting capability. Now, don't want to go too deep into the other areas, but again, one plan will enhance what you can do within the accelerator. So here's the OKRs, and I'll get into this deeper when we get to our SPM scenario. And also demand management in terms of having ideas that you're going to be approving and moving forward into actual project requests. So this is the demand management within the extended accelerator. So now what I'd like to do is go to the third scenario. So now we're talking about a strategic project office, and that is actually trying to get to the highest level in SPM. And I'm going to now switch. Let's see, and you should be able to see my screen. So now we're in one plan on its own, and decided to take this route just to show how one plan can be used on its own on the web. It is a SaaS solution all in Azure, and we have here a strategic portfolio management group, which is one of our templates. And this is our homepage where you can see insights into items that you might have to attend to. Also conversations, plans. We call everything is really a plan type. So you can see that we have some portfolios, some value streams, some objectives. These are either items that have been shared with you or items that you own, and you can see here, in this case, this is a portfolio manager, so has access to all the information. And then finally, you can see here, as it's really a snapshot of the work that you have to do from my work. So the navigation in this template is, you can see the different areas that have been configured, and they cover ideation, they cover strategy, the strategic execution side, portfolio, which we'll go into in a second to show the portfolio hierarchy, enterprise architecture. So this is the IPA elements, resource plan, the summary resource plan with all assignments for doing capacity planning, status reports, the modeler, which is our what if scenario capability, and then the resource center. This can be changed also. This is just a template that brings everything together. I'm going to start with strategy and then go to ideas, just to highlight that the strategy really allows us to record and see our OKRs. In this case, it's an objective and key result model. And we have it built within the area here. So we have objectives, and then hanging on objectives are key results. The view areas based on the data can be changed. And again, you can see here that we have a number of views already created, by business unit. If you wanted to see, okay, who's managing the different OKRs of the organization. When we drill into them, we can actually see specific details behind it and information related to it. And then the associations, well, the first of all is the key results. So the key results are telling us, how are we going to achieve this objective? What are the metrics that are going to drive to getting to in this case, we've gotten to 64% of launching our product successfully because we're making progress on our key results. I could drill down further into the key result from here in order to see, what's actually driving the key result. So in this case, generating a number of MQLs from email marketing is actually being there's an idea that came that is associated to it. So there's something, but you can see here that if there's projects that are supporting this, this is where we would see how we're going to get to generating 100 MQL leads. I'll go back just to go back to my objective summary so I can see. So I'm going to go to this improve customer excellence just to drill through, and we see that we have achieving a net promoter score of 9. And what are the associated initiatives? So what are the projects and epics that are actually driving this? And this is the more important part, because now we're getting to, okay, how are we going to achieve our key result? So you can do this, directly from, all in one plan. And you can see here that we're actually integrating a project called Project for the Web, which just for illustrated purposes is actually using Project for the Web. So the project itself is in a plan stage. This is our plan detail form that allows us to see everything within the project, including financials, effort, health. Again, this is our highest, we've gone from an objective all the way down to a key result and an initiative that's actually allowing us to achieve that objective. Why did I select this one? Because this actually is being done in Project for the Web. So if I connect to it and open it, I'm going to be going directly to Project for the Web, where I'm actually managing the work. Going back to our objectives and key results one more time. If I wanted to see, okay, so how does this objective, how are we going to actually achieve this objective and key result? So we have here a visualizer that allows us to see the entire scope of how this objective is going to be accomplished. We have our key results, obviously, that measure how we're going to get there. But then we have the projects that are supporting the key results. And in addition, and I know we can probably simplify this, but we've added products, applications, capabilities, and value streams. So when I talked about earlier about strategic portfolio management, is really having the ability to make all these different connections. And again, this one looks kind of messy, but the intent is to actually show, okay, which ones are not doing so well, and what do we actually need to do to fix support customer using mobile that's actually impacting increased customer retention. Support customer using mobile, as you can see, is actually supporting products and applications. So we have a number, this is a really important project based on everything else that's going on within the organization. So we need to figure out how we can improve performance on this project, since it is, again, so important. Maybe we want to, go and look at it directly in terms of its dependencies itself and anything else, and we can go through here directly and look at, okay, let's go look at the project. So again, I went from the very I made a connection in terms of underperformance of a project that is impacting key results that is actually going to drive to an outcome. So that is the relationships that you have to actually establish here. In fact, in this case, we actually even have here's the key results that are driving, and the applications that are also so that entire picture that you saw earlier as it relates to this project is actually being shown here. And that's what OnePlan can allow you to do to build that strategic portfolio management capability. Okay, enough about that. We have a few more minutes left, and I want to just touch on that. You know, we have an ideation portal, and the intent is to actually allow you to bring in all ideas and be able to then decide. Anyone in the organization can submit it through the request portal, and you know the concept is that you're going to move it through a life cycle, which can be you know, have a workflow and notifications and have a business case, and then as you're making a decision on it, you're going to be approving it, if we will. Let me go back here. And then making it part of your execution portfolio. So we'll take the idea and we'll, in this case, turn it into a project and put it within one of our programs. So again, this is bringing in demand. We could have estimated resources at this level, but in this example, it's just a simple business case that we're putting into deciding whether we're going to make it active or close or hold, and then making it part of our execution portfolio. Now this is where we get to prioritization. So OnePlan gives you the ability to define different prioritization criteria, and you can see the summary here that's actually coming from scheduled work. This project's already in a plan phase, but if you're bringing it in initially, you would have use your business drivers to define how you're going to get to the score, and then be able to prioritize it. If you are as part of your your planning early on, you could be defining budgets. So OnePlan has a strong financial management capability. And you can see here that we have also different cost types in case of, you're going to be forecasting or even bringing actuals and even doing benefits in order to do a pro forma. We have that capability in terms of resource planning. This is probably the second, I think, most important feature set within OnePlan, because it allows us to define resource usage in terms of hours, percent, or FTE. And then we can summarize all demand, which I'll show in a second when we go to the summary resource plan. Now, depending on your process and governance, you might want to start planning a schedule. So OnePlan can either bring in project or project for the web or any other tool, or it does have a full planner, a full scheduling engine within it. So this particular project actually is created within OnePlan itself, and don't have time to get into everything that we have available, but it is a full scheduler. And then if you want to also plan in agile mode in order to do a hybrid plan, we also have the ability to define feature stories, epic feature stories, tasks, depending what your hierarchy is in agile. So we've gone through and defined, our whatever your governance process is. We can go through then and prioritize projects, stack rank projects, and see when they're going to come in terms of sequencing. Now, if we want to do modeling and create what if scenarios, that's where we go into our model, and you can see that we have a number of different models already built here. I'm just going to go through and select the IT planning one just so you see this has already been built, and we have a couple of scenarios here that I will show. But we start with the projects that we have available, and then we define scenarios based, in this case, on budget. And I can then also, in this case, we started with 108. There's 93 that are in and 12 that are out. And I'm trying to get to this number here of 25 million. Based on shifting priorities, maybe we have to bring in some of the projects that were left out. So this virtual agent is very highly rated. So now we're obviously above the amount. So should we take out another project? I could be comparing it, so I can analyze and see that with the 94th project, I'm actually over the amount. So this gives you the ability to define scenarios and then obviously save them and make them part of the execution. The other important component is that here we can do what if planning in terms of resequencing the selected projects because changes have occurred, and we need to actually figure out a way of meeting our demand within the selected scenario. So in this modeler is what would allow you to do that what if in terms of resequencing the selected projects to try to make in this case the resource load acceptable. Likewise, if you wanted to do it with funding, you could do that and see how the selected projects are able to meet or exceed that $25 million target. And again, I selected one more, which got us over the target. We're actually now adding graphing and charting to our modeler to, again, give you visualizations directly of your budget versus targets in this case. And then the last part, as I said, is the enterprise architecture. This is where the IIPA comes in, and we have here our enterprise architecture elements that we're tracking. This could be integrated from a repository, or it could be built here, but it's really giving the EPMO and the strategic project office, strategic realization office, the ability to see all of the elements that are going to allow us to to achieve strategies. In this case, we're focused on applications, and the application itself has its own detailed form. Again, this could be coming from your enterprise architecture repository, or you could start here with your basic elements, tracking it. You can see here that it's got some associated objectives. These applications are supporting a value stream, and then we have the different projects that this application is related to, based on impact or just the supporting application behind the initiative. So you can add, if you want to track costs for the application, you can add that, financials, and if you even wanted to have tasks behind application or releases, you can actually include that within one plan. And as I showed earlier, if you wanted to actually visualize the relationship between either dependencies between applications or the actual relationship of the application all the way back to the objective. In other words, we have a key result that has an association to the objective, to the projects, and even to the value stream that it's supporting. So again, this is the highest end state for the organization in terms of strategic portfolio management. So I thought that would be interesting to show how we can, from here, getting to application portfolio management would be, pretty straightforward. All right. I apologize if this has seemed like overwhelming presentation. I've tried to give you all the different scenarios that are available to achieve and evolve into strategic portfolio management. There's not one single way of doing this. Again, it really depends on what you're trying to solve and the readiness of your organization to adopt some of these practices. But be sure that we have supported hundreds of organizations in going through this process, and what is best for you based on what you're trying to solve for, and your readiness can be defined in a roadmap, and we can successfully get you to the next level in strategic portfolio management or enterprise portfolio management. So with that, I'm going to conclude our webinar, and I'm going to thank you for joining. The slides will be provided by Robert, and please be sure to look for our webinars that we have upcoming. And also the solutions that I showed are all available in AppSource, so feel free to give a try to any of the solutions that we showed. Please make contact if you need support in going through them, so that we can give you a deep dive. So trials are available. We do offer introductory roadmap planning in order to understand where you're at. As I said, this is as a first step prior to the business strategy workshop that I talked about. Tries to identify what's the easiest way for you to get to the next level. And please make contact, and again, thank you very much for your time.